Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. I'd like to welcome you all to the show. Look, we have to get to the bottom of this. There's a lot of fears out there dealing with the vaccination, dealing with COVID. People don't know whether not to be vaccinated or whether to get the vaccination due to a lot of misinformation. Protect yourself. Should you wear a mask at this particular time, since there's another strand out there that's just as powerful as the COVID? Or should you just take matters in your own hands and use your free will and whatever happens, happens, right? But our job here is on the side of information and truth. We're only here to bring you the sentiment of everyday people and what they're saying. You know, some say, get the vaccine, protect yourself. But then you had some who have gotten the vaccine and still contracted the COVID virus and had to be hospitalized. So we want to get into the origin of all of this and why some say it was taken out of a laboratory and then spread to people. Now, some would say, what's the purpose of this biological chemical warfare in these countries to store? You're going to use it against people? What do you need it for? I mean, it's ridiculous, but this is the time in which we're living in. So, you know how we do sometimes on Verbal Pick Radio. We don't come up with anything, right? We're reading stories, articles. I want to bring something to you all from Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology News, right? And this was done back in September 21st of 2020. And if you heard my part one of controversy and COVID, this is part two of controversy and COVID. And it starts off by saying, controversy aside, why the source of COVID-19 matters. And this is by Grace Nowidzic, September 21st, 2020, right? It says, most scientists studying the origins of COVID-19 have concluded that the SARS-CoV-2 virus probably evolved naturally and infected humans via incidental contact with a wild or domesticated animal. And I want to read that to you, because the key word here is probably, meaning they can't put their finger on it, they can't pinpoint it, and they can't say it's an actual fact. The most they can give you is probably, and that's one. When you make statements like that, a lot of people get skeptical and like, you know what, if you don't know, then let me go with my free will or my own thoughts or what I feel is best for me and my family. Probably evolved naturally and infected humans via incidental contact with a wild or domesticated animal. But a few persistent voices, including respected microbiologist and biosafety advocate Richard Ebright, PhD, continue to highlight circumstantial evidence suggesting. Now you have a probably and have a suggesting. When someone suggests something, they're saying, hey, you know, you have your own mind, your own thoughts, but I suggest you come this way. Hey, there's a volcano coming your way that just erupted and the lava is flowing this way. I suggest you come with us, right? Or probably you might want to come with us. You know, you see the commercials where they say, will this bridge hold? Might, probably. I don't know. Will this bridge hold? I don't know. Okay. Or, hey, we need to get out of town, and I suggest that you use this bridge. Well, why you suggest to me that you use this bridge? Have you used it yourself? Did you study it? Do you have some information showing that this bridge is stable since you're making a suggestion? Because usually when somebody suggests something, they mean they tried it out and it's been proven true. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of the way. So it says, highlighted circumstantial evidence suggesting that the SARS-CoV-2 escaped from a biohazard laboratory in Wuhan, China. This is what the Richard E. Bright, PhD, right, microbiologist, right, suggested that SARS-CoV-2, right, now, let's look at it this way, right, let's look at it this way. We're saying COVID, they're saying COVID-19, Corona, right, he's calling it SARS-CoV-2, right, escaped from a biohazard laboratory in Wuhan, China. Now, are they saying, okay, well, we found another one called Corona or COVID-19 that came from animals or bats or whatnot? I don't know, right? But we're going to continue. SARS-CoV-2 escaped from a biohazard laboratory in Wuhan, China. Such an escape might have occurred via accidental infection of a lab worker who came in contact with the isolated virus, an infected lab animal, or animal waste, right? But see, that's another story as well. One said it came out of laboratory that one of the workers there was trying to sneak it out the laboratory, right? And so I guess they don't want to go with that no more. Now they're saying that a lab worker can get the COVID on him. What was you even opening that COVID bottle? What do you call it? The COVID test tube, the vial. Well, why are you opening the vial? Why are you even dealing with the vial? You know, it's a lot of questions, which I think that one day they'll get to the bottom of it. But right now, that, you know how they say you can't handle the truth? You don't want to know the truth. Right now, they feel like the people, you can't really handle the truth of what's actually going on. So, you know, they're thinking for you, right? And on their behalf, they're trying to protect you. But so much, man, has been done over the years. And that's why we're where we're at today. When I say so much, I'm even talking about the ski experiment and Henrietta Lacks and just so much, man, so much. But we're gonna keep going on. For now, we cannot definitely rule out either origin story, so they can't rule out nothing. A lab incident or a natural animal to human transmission. Determining the origins of this pandemic is unlikely to help current efforts to treat and cure the disease. It could, however, be an important determinant for efforts to prevent future outbreaks. And that's the most they say you're going to get out of this situation is when it's all said and done, they're going to make sure that whatever caused it won't happen again. Escape from a lab. Most arguments in favor of the lab accident theory are based on geography. Wuhan, the site of COVID-19's first reported case in late 2019, where you get the COVID-19, is also home of two of China's most advanced biological laboratories. The Wuhan Institute of Virology has come under special scrutiny because it hosts China's only biosafety level 4 lab facilities. Right. Ebright, a former Howard Hughes Medical Institute investigator now, he's an investigator, and current laboratory director at Rutgers University, is the most prominent scientist espousing the possibility of a lab escape. Now, this is the top of the top. Ebright said, man, look, this thing comes from laboratory, right? He holds all the degrees, all the credentials, right? He raised biosafety concerns about the Wuhan laboratory when it opened in 2017, as did Tim Trevin, founder of Chrome Biosafety and Biosecurity Consulting. Ebright has long opposed the expansion of preventative research into dangerous pathogens, and he views the possibility lab escape of SARS-CoV-2 as strong support for that position. When asked why he continues pushing the lab accident theory when many of his peers have moved on, Ebright states, there currently is no scientific evidence and no forensic evidence, absolutely none, that enables a choice between a natural accident and laboratory accident scenarios, right? Because President Biden even said there's credible evidence into the theory of it's coming from a lab in Wuhan, China. Okay. Jim Metzel, a foreign policy expert and author of Hacking Darwin, is another vocal supporter of the lab theory, right? That's why Biden, President Biden said there's credible evidence into the theory that it came out of a lab, suggesting that an outbreak of a deadly bat coronavirus coincidental occurred near the only level 4 virology institute in all of China, which happened to be studying the closest known relative of that exact virus strands. Credulity, he wrote in a July op for the Wall Street Journal. The closest known relative to which Metzel refers is a virus known as rat G13, RAT G13, a coronavirus sampled from horseshoe bats in China's Yunnan province in 2013. Rat G13 bears 96.2% overall genetic sequence identity to SARS-CoV-19. Across the 29,000 bases of the coronavirus genome, but in the region encoding the receptor binding domain of the virus signature spike protein, the sequence identity drops to just 85%. So they're saying that when you get through with the test and studying, it's not a 96% chance that it came from a bat. It drops to 85%. Virus evolution experts have stated that the sequence divergence between the two viruses represents an evolutionary distance of at least 20 years. So, coming out the lab, and for that corona to mutate or to transform into for that rat G13 to transform into corona would take 20 years, at least 20 years. Joseph Pastrani, PhD at metagenomics expert at Baylor College of Medicine in Texas, says that the observation that the rat G13 backbone component is still many mutations away from SARS-CoV-2 suggests other intermediates likely exist. Okay. Oh, wait. Let me finish reading this. Others caution that the evolutionary tree is not sufficiently complete to allow for definitive analysis. So what they're saying is the disease, the rat G13 that comes from a bat, right, would take 20 years for it to mutate into COVID. And they're saying the odds of that happening is like, rare. Right. So those who read and this is being talked about, spread underground. People reading and they understand it. And when you come out and say, they're like, hey, wait a minute, man. The problem is if it came out of laboratory, then you go in the laboratory for a cure for what came out of the laboratory. People are like, I don't know, man. I need a little more convincing. Well, hey, people dying from this COVID. Get the vaccine. They're like when people are catching COVID with the vaccine. This is a tough sell. It's a tough sell. Shi Zhengli, man, time out. Why does these biologists and scientists and biochemists has these tongue twister names? Wow. Anyway, Shi Zhengli, PhD, a well-known Chinese researcher who leads the WIV lab study, rat G13 and other bat coronaviruses did not respond to Jean's request for comment. However, she recently told Science that her lab was only studying the genome sequence of rat G13, insisting that they did not isolate the virus itself. She has repeatedly denied that SARS-CoV-2 ever existed in any Wuhan laboratory before the current outbreak, and has highlighted WIV's adherence to safety protocol. So the China lady saying SARS or it didn't come out of China's laboratory. Wow. However, accidents do occur even in labs with excellent safety standards. eBright cites a USA Today investigation that concluded that there were more than 1,100 lab accidents involving dangerous pathogens or toxins in the U.S. alone between 2008 and 2012. The SARS virus escaped from research labs in the early 2000s and caused minor outbreaks in Beijing, Taiwan, and Singapore, prompting the World Health Organization to tighten biosafety recommendations for SARS-related coronaviruses. Pt2 says that labs studying these pathogens now have protocols in place to reduce accidental exposure and respond swiftly when they do occur. The lab escape theory has also found favor among U.S. government officials, including Senator Tom Cotton and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who claimed that Chinese government actions in early 2020 were part of a cover-up. Right? And see, okay, now, when you have a lot of Trump followers, because Trump was calling it the Kung Flu and, giving it these things, saying, no, this thing came straight out of China. And so do you think Trump supporters are going to take a vaccine because they thinking that in their mind that people are trying to get rid of them? Right? Okay. Let's line it up. I mean, we going deep today. We're going to line it all up. One, they feel Hollywood is attacking them. One, they feel like they trying to demasculinate males to where if men align with men and women align with women, that means that the population, the birth rate, is at a standstill. Right? Then on top of that, you hit them with the coronavirus. Man, there's conspiracy theories all over the place. um, somebody, and real soon, needs to come out with some hard evidence and the truth, and put it at the feet of the people, the truth, so they can make their own decisions, so they can be aware, because it's getting crazy out there. China was slow to report initial findings about COVID-19 to international organizations like the Wuhan and the let me see, where were we at? Okay, at the Wuhan and the Associated Press. Oh no, at the okay, here we go. International organizations like the WHO and the Associated Press repeatedly reported that Chinese authorities seized tight control over data and investigations related to the virus and its origins. But the journalist Bob Woodward confirmed in a February interview with President Trump that the Chinese premier communicated transparently about how deadly COVID-19 could be in an April op for the Wall Street Journal. Cotton also cited allegations that Chinese labs studying the novel, there you go, coronavirus, in late December and early January received orders to destroy their samples, although he failed to note that Chinese investigators submitted the novel coronavirus draft genome to a U.S. database as soon as it was sequenced on January 5th. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence confirmed last April that the U.S. intelligence community was conducting an official investigation into the possibility of a lab escape. Wait, so April of 2019, right? Wait. No, April of 2020, right? They've been investigating the possibility of a lab escape. There's a great risk associated with the absence of transparency, right? And the Chinese government has yet to sufficiently share data or samples with the international community, said the Department of State spokesperson in a statement to Gene, which is Gene Science, right? Okay, so that means then that if they're studying to see if the coronavirus or COVID-19 came out of a lab, and there's now this is 2021, this is July of 2021. What's the conclusion of that study? A lot of people who knows about this, they waiting for the end of the study. They looking for some information. And then I keep referring back to President Biden stating that he feels there's credible evidence to the lab theory. So they on to something, they know something. Right? Now, since they say, okay, well, we're not going to call it the novel coronavirus, right? So does that mean that if we're not referring to it as the novel coronavirus, then we don't have to give out the information because we're talking about a different virus? You know, you got to ask these questions. Now, look, okay. We still don't have the answer. We need about a virus that has left 700,000 dead and counting. For the world to have those answers, Beijing must provide open and transparent access to full information needed to allow for a complete understanding of the origins of the virus. Wow, man. Given that a search of the public database did not yield any sequence that matched SARS-CoV-2 with 100% identity, we can say that this sequence, and by its extensions, this virus, wow. I can't read, man. Wow. Wow, they trying to hide the SARS COVID sequence. Then they tried to, I remember they tried to say it came from the Pangolin, Pangolin, and I did a show on that and said it came from them eating this animal. First they said it came from a bat. Then they said it came from eating a pangolin. Wow. But it says, although no conclusive evidence shows any traces of the SARS-CoV-2 either in the wild or in a laboratory before December 2019. Wow. Well, y'all, hey, what can you say? I guess we got to sit back and wait for the government to finish its investigations if they're able to even reach a conclusion. So that's the battle right there, right? Did it come from a laboratory? Or did it come from an animal? Right. That's what people want to know. Why is that important? Now, some say, well, hell, if it came from an animal, then it would take natural remedies, I'd say, or if it came out of the laboratory, then a laboratorial cure would be in place. I don't know. But people, if it came from a laboratory, people not gonna trust nothing. They don't know what's going on, and they don't know if the well, I don't want to say chemicals. What's the term I'm looking for? What is the term I'm looking for? I do not want to say chemicals. The serum, let's say that was concocted in a laboratory, right? Would have to fight off a biochemical that was also created in a laboratory, and people don't want that into the system. So, just like UFOs, the government has to go ahead and put everything they know about it on the table. And now coronavirus is right next to the UFO. UFO, unexplained or unidentified flying objects. Coronavirus is unidentified origin. Verbal Pick Radio, we're out.